Day. MLK beat his wife. He watched his friends commit rape and he did nothing about it. He had orgies with white male prostitutes. He copied his entire PhD thesis and didn't earn his doctorate. He didn't write his own speeches. His most famous speech, the I Have a Dream speech, was written by the Jewish American communist Stanley Levinson. He didn't plan his own protests or help organize the marches, and he wasn't a Christian. At Crozier Theological Seminary, he wrote he didn't believe that Jesus Christ was God. He believed that everybody was God. He didn't believe in virgin birth. He didn't believe in the resurrection of Christ. He didn't believe in the idea of sin. He did not believe the crucifixion was atonement for sin, and did not believe in the Eucharist. The civil rights movement in the United States was astroturfed and created by Jewish organizations. The World Jewish Congress and Henry Moskowitz helped found the NAACP. Arthur Spingarn was the president of the NAACP for 26 years, from 1939 to 1965. He was a key figure in the organization's legal strategy. Joel Spingarn, his brother, a Columbia professor, served as the NAACP's second president. Rabbi Stephen S. Wise, a founder of the American Jewish Congress and a member of the World Jewish Congress, helped found and operate the NAACP. Julius Rosenwald, the president of Sears Roebuck, was a major benefactor for the NAACP and helped fund the civil rights protests. Lilienwald founded the Henry Street Settlement and helped create the Urban Institute with Lyndon B. Johnson. Joel Fleischman helped shape how the Urban Institute received its funding and structured other nonprofits to receive government grants and conduct activism. Right before MLK gave his famous I Have a Dream speech, again written by Stanley Levinson, who spoke before him? Rabbi Joachim Prince, the president of the American Jewish Congress and a leader in the World Jewish Committee. He was one of the founding chairmen for the March on Washington. Almost all of the founders and leaders of the NAACP were Zionist Jews. The Anti-Defamation League and the American Jewish Congress literally wrote the Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights Act mandates that you fund the Community Relations Service. The Community Relations Service also conducts training for non-governmental organizations to receive funding in government grants. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act makes it so law firms can't have quotas limiting Jewish employment. Title VI prohibited any law schools, medical schools, and basically all Ivy League schools from putting quotas on Jewish admission. And Title II ensured that social clubs could not prevent Jewish membership. These Jewish organizations took advantage of black sentiments in the United States to progress their social interests. MLK was probably the greatest puppet in all of U.S. history.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash, double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone who rule well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect and the one-third remnant out there listening and doing this word with all faith and sincerity scattered amongst the nations and the four corners of the earth. To you, I say Shalom, Lord willing. This video is edifying. It's going to be sent around. This video exposing Martin Luther King, right? And I think it's fitting because today is MLK Day, okay? And with it being, 2026 year of false prophets and apostasies, for this information to come out is very fitting. So, why not cover it, right? And we know, but a lot of people don't know that Martin Luther King was just a straight up pun, as he went into, he was a homosexual, right? Involved in orgies with white men. He didn't write his own speeches. He was pretty much a pun of the small hats, right? A pun of Zionists, right? So he was just a facade, right? Put in the public eye and made this figure to lead astray so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and to push that civil rights agenda, which today, when you look at the fruit of it, is responsible for a lot of the dysfunction and degeneracy that you see in the Israelite community today, as far as, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans believing in this lie of equality, right? And falling into the trap of integration, All right. And fitting enough, he did it under the guise of religion. Okay. Because he started off a pastor in Atlanta. And, you know, allegedly, according to these findings that, you know, this Edomite is bringing out, he was not a godly man at all, right? But what he did push was madness, right? He pushed his feelings. He pushed his own heart, and people fell for it, right? But he came up under the guise of, you know, being a man of God, and that's what got people to listen, because our people are very, you know, God fearing, to say the least, right? We're very superstitious people. So, you know, when it comes to the Lord, Jake, you know, even if he's not following or doing what he's supposed to do, Jake is more attentive to it, right? This is Deuteronomy 18 and 20. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have commanded him to speak, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And that's what he did. He came in the name of God and Jesus Christ, and he spoke about this inclusion, right? Which is false. Spoke of integrating and joining our enemy and forgiving our enemy and being passive and allowing them to have their way with us in return for us to get to share the same resources that he has, right? To attend his schools, to be like him, right? And when you look at the results of what that has done for so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to this day, absolutely destroyed us, man. You know, after this whole civil rights movement, you had the war on drugs, the crack cocaine epidemic, right? Mass incarceration. So he pretty much led us, or led our people at that time, and he even admitted it, into a burning house, right? He said it out of his own mouth, right? So, you know, that's why the Lord judged them the way he did. Public execution, right? After his mission was accomplished, you know, he was taken out because he was, you know, ultimately put there to forward the affliction. Okay, this is Jeremiah 23 and 25. I have heard what the prophet said that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. And that's coincidentally, that's exactly what he came. I have a dream, the whole speech. And it wasn't even written by him. It was written by Amalekite, right? By Amalek, so-called Israeli, right? His handler. Okay. And it's no coincidence. It's funny how wherever you see turmoil, you see a small hat in the background, right? But that's what he came and he pushed. And, you know, our people are suffering for that to this day, right? He came in a heavy spirit of idolatry, when I think about it, right? How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yea, they are prophets of their own. They are prophets of the deceit of their own heart, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. And that's exactly what his mission and his goal was. And that's what he achieved to a great deal. Of course, he's not going to, you know, get the anointed. Lord willing, we part of that number. But we all grew up, in some, if you wasn't Christian, you was a Muslim, but you grew up idolizing and looking up to the wrong people. And if you were a Christian, Martin Luther King was number one, man. Especially growing up down south. I used to personally, I when I was growing up, I used to not like the nigga because I was just like, damn, like how you let these Edomites spit on you, man. That was always my thing. Like, hell no, like we're gonna have to get down. But for a lot of Jake, and Jake carries that spirit to this day. They quick to move on another, Jake, somebody that looked like him. But when it comes to Esau, man, they coward. Okay, Jake could pull out a phone and record it and just sit there and take it and cry about it. And of course you got some, now that spirit is kind of fading away because people are waking up to this bullshit. People are waking up to the fact that the people that you once looked up to and thought were something or were nothing, and they were puppets. Okay. Jake ain't in that weak ass spirit because that's what that nigga brought. A real weak, docile, timid ass spirit. Right? A homosexual spirit, because he was indeed a homosexual. All right. Micah 3:5, thus saith Yahweh Shema Shah concerning the prophets that make my people err, that bite with their teeth and cry peace, and he that putteth not into their mouths, they even prepare war against them. That's right, man. So, it's all good if you, and a lot of these pastors follow right after the blueprint that Martin Luther King made, right? That he followed, that path that he created, because he was definitely a hireling, a manipulator, definitely just, working the room, pimping, right? He used the Christian church, the Baptist church specifically to, finance and get a lot of his popularity, right? And guess what? If you're talking, if you for him, it's all good. You're gonna be blessed. But if you're against him, oh man, they plotting against you. Is they what do you call it? Damn, it's escaping me. They lie on you, right? For lack of better words. Slander. They slander you, right? And they they're real passionate in what they do too. Martin Luther King used to be up there sweating when you watch them old videos, right? And guess what? You got the new young bucks followed right after the path of that, man. Right? That overly righteous spirit. But really this nigga a demon. Right? Just like, King was a goddamn demon. All right. And this spirit is still prevalent amongst, our people today. That wolf spirit, that secret desire spirit, right? Leading you astray because, they may have some form of the truth, but they lead you astray because they got interior motives, right? So they withhold it, or they're not gonna give it to you, not the way they should, because they want to fulfill their desires, right? This is Matthew 24:24. For there shall arise false anointed or Christ and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders And so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. When you look at the effect that Martin Luther King, I mean, it's not many Jakes with a day, right, to themselves. You know, during that time, it was a Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. There's no Malcolm X Day, right? But he got his own day. Why? Because he was planted. He did a great number. So Esau rewarded him in return. And also it helps perpetuate that sorcery, that spell, right? Keeps that spell alive, right? But guess what? If it were possible, it would have got us. And for we, you know, growing up, you didn't know any better. But once you found the truth, hey, you got right out of that because, you know, inwardly you already thought something is off for this about this nigga anyway, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Washai. You know, so these miracles and wonders in which they did got the masses of people following behind them, get the following they did, and the press and the attention and the movement behind them and the idolization. We're not impressed, man. Okay. But yeah, so with that, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Shema Washai, Hashem, Baruch HaKodesh, Wa, Abba, and DTA, DTN.